milk from the milk bag of the cow, food, grains, and water from the land, and prosperity in one's livelihood from industrial enterprises, so, by the practice of bhakti yoga, even within this material world, one can achieve your favor or intelligently approach you. Those who are pious all affirm this. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is nirguna, not to be found within this material world, the entire material world is pervaded by Him. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Maya tatam idam sarvam, the material world is nothing but an expansion of the Lord's material energy, and the entire cosmic manifestation rests upon Him. Machdani Sava Bhutani. Nonetheless, the Supreme Lord cannot be found here. Na katam teshu avistata. A devotee, however, can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the practice of bhakti yoga. One ordinarily does not begin to practice bhakti yoga unless he has practiced it in previous births. Moreover, one can begin bhakti yoga only by the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bish. The seed of devotional service is obtainable by the mercy of Guru, the spiritual master, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only by the practice of bhakti yoga can one achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and see Him face to face. Premanjano charita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva vidayeshu vilokayanti. One cannot see the Lord by other methods, such as karma, jnana, or yoga. Under the direction of the spiritual master, one must cultivate bhakti yoga. Shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu, smaranam, padasevanam. Then even within this material world, although the Lord is not visible, a devotee can see Him. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijananti yavanyas chasmi tatvataha, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktyam ekaya graya. Thus, by devotional service, one can achieve the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although He is not visible or understandable to materialistic persons. In this verse, the cultivation of bhakti yoga is compared to many material activities. By friction, one can get fire from wood. By digging the earth, one can get food, grains, and water. And by agitating the milk bag of the cow, one can get nectarian milk. Milk is compared to nectar, which one can drink to become immortal. Of course, simply drinking milk will not make one immortal, but it can increase the duration of one's life. In modern civilization, men do not think milk to be important, and therefore they do not live very long. Although in this age men can live up to 100 years, their duration of life is reduced because they do not drink large quantities of milk. This is a sign of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, instead of drinking milk, people prefer to slaughter an animal and eat its flesh. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in His instructions of Bhagavad Gita, advised Go Raksha, which means cow protection. The cow should be protected. Milk should be drawn from the cows, and this milk should be prepared in various ways. One should take ample milk, and thus one can prolong one's life, develop his brain, execute devotional service, and ultimately attain the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is essential to get food, grains, and water by digging the earth, it is also essential to give protection to the cows and take nectarian milk from their milk bags. The people of this age are inclined towards industrial enterprises for comfortable living, but they refuse to endeavor to execute devotional service by which they can achieve the ultimate goal of life by returning home back to Godhead. Unfortunately, as it is said, Nate vidhu swatagitim hi vishnum durase he ye bahir ata manina. People without spiritual education do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. Forgetting this aim of life, they are working very hard in disappointment and frustration. Moghasha mogha kamano, mogha jnana vichetasa. The so-called Vaishyas, the industrialists or businessmen, are involved in big industrial enterprises, but they are not interested in food grains and milk. However, as indicated here, by digging for water, even in the desert, we can produce food grains. When we produce food grains and vegetables, we can give protection to the cows. While giving protection to the cows, we can draw from them abundant quantities of milk. And by getting enough milk and combining it with food grains and vegetables, we can prepare hundreds of nectarian foods. We can happily eat this food and thus avoid industrial enterprises and joblessness. Agriculture and cow protection are the way to become sinless and thus be attracted to devotional service. Those who are sinful cannot be attracted by devotional service. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:28, Yasam Twantagatam Papam Jnananam Punyakamanam Te Dwanda Moha Nirmukta Bhajante Mam Jidavrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. The majority of people in this age of Kali are sinful, short-living, unfortunate, and disturbed. Manda sumanda matayo, manda bhagya hi upadrutar. For them, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Vikevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gati Anyatha. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So I'm just going to repeat the translation, and you can follow. As one can derive fire from wood, milk from the milk bag of the cow, food grains and water from the land, and prosperity in one's livelihood from industrial enterprises, so by the practice of bhakti yoga, even within this material world, one can achieve your favor or intelligently approach you. Those who are pious all affirm this. All affirm this. So this verse explains that even though Krishna is invisible to our material eyes, now we can see him through performing devotional service, just as we can get fire out of wood. So the concept of darshan is not just seeing the deities, but seeing with our mind and heart. We are very fortunate to be here in Mayapur and have such exquisite deities, Radha Madhav, and as Srila Prabhupada said, my place of worship is Mayapur. So we can all take advantage of the wonderful deities here, Shishi Radha Madhava, the Astashakis, Panchatattva, Lord Nrsingadev. And just by praying to them, so many of our spiritual desires can be fulfilled. So the first analogy is getting fire out of wood. So originally I'm from Australia, my birthplace, and there's the original settlers there were the Aboriginal community. And the Aboriginal community were very primitive. No matches, no lighters. So the way they are able to get fire out of wood is by placing one bit of wood, like a fire stick, on another piece of wood and rubbing it by friction. And in this way, they get fire and they're able to survive in the inhospitable desert of Australia. In Australia, for about 2,000 miles, there's the Nullarbor Desert, and the Aborigines actually live there, and it seems almost impossible, but they're very pantheistic. They're thinking of God as a spirit that pervades everything, and they're constantly praying like that to God, please give us food, please give us water. And when they find these things, then they can get the fire out of the wood. Just as one learns how to kindle fire from wood to become a teacher, so one learns the process of bhakti, comprising hearing and chanting from a guru. So the Aboriginal boys and girls, they learn from their father or their teacher how to get fire out of wood. Just to get fire out of wood is impossible. So by being instructed, then they're able to understand what they can do to make this possible. So by that process, one kindles the mind continuously, and then one can see the charming form of Krishna. So by following the orders of our spiritual master, one can actually see Krishna. It seems like he's invisible to our eyes, but not to our mind and not to our heart. So Krishna talks with us within our heart. So this is said in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-36. Yasya swarupan kavayo vipashito Guneshu darusha eva jata vedasam matananti matna manasa dvidshavo gudaham kriyata nama iritat mame. Translation: by manipulating a fire-generating stick, great saints and sages can bring forth the fire lying dormant within the wood. In the same way, O Lord, those expert in understanding the absolute truth try to see you in everything, even in their own bodies. Yet you remain concealed. You are not to be understood by direct processes involving mental or physical activities. Because you are self-manifested, only when you see that a person is wholeheartedly engaged in searching for you do you reveal yourself. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So, without devotional service, we can't perceive Krishna. So, what we want to do is always focus our mind on Krishna. And just like the cowherd boys were always thinking about Krishna, not as God, but as their friend. So, one day they took their cows into the forest, and they were taking their lunch, and all of a sudden a big demon appeared. It was the Agashura demon, and it was an incredibly large demon. The top of the mouth was in the sky and the bottom was on the ground, and he was 8 miles long. He was an incredible monster. But because Krishna was the cowherd boys' friends, and they had complete faith in Krishna. They had complete faith in Krishna. The cowherd boys said, oh, they were very joyful. Oh, let's walk into the Agashura demon's mouth. And they all agreed, yeah, we'll do that. We'll walk into the Agashura demon's mouth. So they walked in, and of course, Krishna saved them. And I was thinking about this pastime, and I was thinking that similarly, Srila Prabhupada, at the advanced age of 70, he walked into the Agashura demon's mouth of New York City. So he walked in there, and he was completely dependent on the instructions of his spiritual master and Krishna. So he was able to be saved from any untoward thing happening, because he had complete faith. With faith, anything can be possible. And Srila Prabhupada had complete faith, and I hope that I have complete faith in him. So Srila Prabhupada was given the name Abai by his father, and Abai means no fear. And throughout his life, that's Srila Prabhupada took that as his life and soul. What should we fear? We have Krishna. I have the most wonderful spiritual master. What should I fear? So, by the mercy of Guru, we get the seed of devotional service, the Bhakti Lata Bij. An example is given to show that if one has the help of devotees, the process of bhakti yoga becomes easy. Another analogy is by milking the cow, one obtains milk. If the calf first sucks the udder, the milk flows easily. But you have to endeavor to get results. We aren't Haridas Thakur. We can't just sit there and chant and think that everything's going to happen. He was completely blessed by Lord Chaitanya, but we have to go out there, and we have to do service in the temple or out on book distribution. So I was very lucky to meet, just before Darshan Aarti, a person that I met in New York in the springtime of 1978, and I gave him a book and a Bhagavad Gita, and he's sitting here now, and he became a devotee. And he was a very humble soul, and he said to me, actually, my brother's a devotee. Maybe you know him, or maybe you don't. I said, oh, what's his name? Oh, he said, his name is Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So, of course, he's one of Srila Prabhupada's closest associates and a very, very famous devotee. So we don't really know who we're going to meet on book distribution. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. Just by our material senses, we can't really understand who is going to take and who is not going to take. But different people have asked me, you're quite good at book distribution, what's your secret? What do you do? What do you say? But the thing is, there's no formula really. There's no formula. The only thing that I did right from the beginning was pray to Srila Prabhupada. Just pray for his mercy. Just pray to Krishna that he would be able to give me the words to be able to encourage the person to take a book. And then people said, well, we say this and we say that and so many things. But what I did mainly is I just opened the Srimad Bhagavatam and I would say, so you're a businessman, so you must be full of anxiety. So I want you to do something for yourself every day. And what I want you to do is meditate. I want you to do some meditation. And this is the meditation book. It's called Srimad Bhagavatam. So what you do is you go through the slokas, say them out aloud, do the word for word, the translation and the purport. And so when you're in a situation where you're full of anxiety, and that might happen every day if you're a big businessman, then just remember that. Remember what you read, remember your meditation, and so like that. And they were like, oh, yeah, I'll take that, I want that. That's something that is close to my heart. So you have to endeavor to get results. Milk is like nectar. Milk will not make you immortal, but will increase the duration of your life. My husband is very cow conscious. He's concerned that in Mayapur that we get ahimsa milk. Now, ahimsa milk means that the cow is not sold off as soon as it stops giving milk, but it's looked after. It's put out to pasture. It's looked after. And the cow can become like a member of the family. The cow can be loved. Now, I suggest everyone goes to the Goshala at least once a week and pat cows and brush them and feed them and do some service for the cows. And the cows reciprocate very, very nicely. For example, my youngest grandson, Harinam, is 2 years old, and he loves the Goshala so much. He's always saying, cow, cow. When he sees me put my shoes on, he's going, cow, cow, I want to go to the Goshala. He doesn't say, I want to go to the Goshala, but he's going, cow, cow, I want to pat cows. It's like, even from a young age, the children understand the purity and the blessings of the cow. So getting back to ahimsa milk means that old cows who are no longer milking and young bulls will not be sold. So his idea is that the Mayapur devotees could each adopt a local village cow that can provide us with milk. They will not get sold when they're old. The village men cannot economically take care of them, so when they get old, the devotees can adopt the cows. This is just a suggestion, and they need not be sold. The milking cow will have about 15. There will be about 15 for one milking cow. For example, she'll have 2 of her own calves or heifers, 2 nieces, nephews, calves or heifers, 6 retired cows and 3 with luck working bull relatives, a great-great-grandmother, 2 great aunts and uncles, 1 great-grandmother, 1 grandmother, 3 aunts and uncles and 1 mother. 1 milking cow has a big family like that. So it's very easy for them to say, well, we're not getting anything from these cows, so let's sell them. So then their fate is unknown when the cow is sold. So my husband is suggesting that you adopt a cow, and in that way you'll get ahimsa milk, non-violence. So we're talking about one needs to endeavor. So butter is already in the cream, in the milk, but the cream needs to be churned to make butter. It's a wonderful enterprise. That's what the gopis, the elderly gopis, were doing, churning butter into churning cream into butter. So again, you have to endeavor to get results. So I was lucky enough to be here in 1977 in Mayapur when Srila Prabhupada was here. Australia has very, very nice ghee. So what we would do is every devotee who would come from Australia would bring 2 kilos of ghee for Srila Prabhupada and the deities. So every devotee would bring that, and Srila Prabhupada liked it very much. Before I left Australia, I asked a friend, what should I take? I'm just a brahmacharini. I don't have much money. What should I take for Srila Prabhupada? And she said, take full cream powdered milk. I'm like, what? Full cream powdered milk? You can get that anywhere. It's very common. It's very, very common. And she said, no, just take it. Take it. So I took her advice, and I took a tin of full cream powdered milk. And in those days, Srila Prabhupada would spend a lot of time in his darshan room, especially he was getting a little weak in 1977. So we were allowed, the ladies were allowed, 2 ladies were allowed at a time to go for a 2-minute darshan with Srila Prabhupada. So we took the ghee and I took my powdered milk, and I thought, oh, well, after 2 minutes I'll give him the powdered milk and then I'll run out because I'm so embarrassed. It's such a lousy gift. I've been advised by a god sister to take that, and I feel that Prabhupada will say something like, hey, powdered milk, that's very, very far away from real milk. And I thought he would say, I don't want it, or I speculated. The mind is a very powerful speculator, so I was speculating about what he would say. So I presented it to him very shyly, and as I presented it, his eyes lit up. And that was the most incredible feeling I've ever felt, that pleasing your spiritual master like that. His eyes lit up and he said, I want my cook, please tell my cook to make all my milk sweets out of this. So I thought my human birth was, that was a positive reason just to be born, was to please your spiritual master like that. So then, instead of 2 minutes, Srila Prabhupada talked for 30 minutes on cow protection and the wonders of milk. So just from that small present, we were able to bathe in the nectar of Srila Prabhupada's nectarian words about the benefits of milk. So in Kali Yuga, people may be drinking milk, but they are killing the cows. People don't know the goal of life. Because they don't know the goal of life in Kali Yuga, people are disappointed. So we can throw them a lifeline in the form of books. So one endeavor is by distributing books, and I've seen a lot of the devotees here just giving out small books, just going around, and even if they can't speak Bengali, by their sincerity, the pilgrims are taking books, and it's wonderful to see. So when I was doing books, I thought that it was the absolutely best meditation that you could have. First of all, praying to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada to please give me the words to be able to talk to these people. And in between people, I'd be just chanting Krishna, 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 hey. So in that way, I felt like I was an instrument and that I was not the doer. The third analogy in this verse is that one can derive food grains and water from the land. If you put a seed in fertile soil, if you water it and the sun shines on it, you'll get a nice plant. But you have to wait. So similarly with Bhakti Yoga, sometimes it's not instantaneous. You might just have to wait a number of years before the seed starts fructifying, but you must have patience. The devotee must have patience. So if it's the right season, the plants will grow. Similarly, through sadhana, we nurture the seed of bhakti and we'll get results. Just keep on chanting. And I find personally that I have a particular time in the day that I chant, be very, very regulated. First thing in the morning, a little bit before Mangalati, and after Mangalati, it's the best time, the Brahma Muhurta hour, just be really regulated. And if I don't do it then, it's space out time, just completely space out, and then it takes all day, somehow or other, to chant your round. So my suggestion is just chant as early in the morning as possible, but you probably all know that. So one obtains bhakti which arises from the seed of previous lives. If one has had association of devotees, one attains strong bhakti, and by this obstacles disappear and one can attain the Lord. I read that Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, we're all saying, Krishna, please see us, me, please see me. But Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he would actually take his glasses off. And his disciples were like, don't you want to see the deities? And he's like, no, I want the deity to see me. I'm putting it in a different context. The deity can see me. Yes, it's very nice to see the deities, but allow the deity to see me. We are. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. That's Bhagavad Gita 10:10. In this verse, Buddhi Yogam is very significant. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord instructed Arjuna that he had spoken to him of many things and that he would instruct him in the ways of Buddhi Yoga. Now Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this, therefore the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. Then we can ask, how can we get the mercy of Krishna? Lord Chaitanya chanted the holy name of Krishna with such great attention. Perception is based on attention. The concept of darshan, as we were explaining before with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, is not just seeing, but seeing with the mind and the heart. One really has to focus, and has to focus the most one can. This is so incredible that we're able to be here in Mayapur, and we're able to have such nice reciprocation with the deities and with the other devotees. And we're all on the same page. We all want Krishna. We all want Krishna. And by following Vaidhi Bhakti as described in the rules and regulations in the prescribed scriptures, and by following a self-realized soul, how do we get love of God? By always thinking about Krishna. We will get his mercy and will attract his attention. That's what we want. We want to attract his attention by our sadhana, by our love, by changing our heart from being a cold heart to a warm, loving heart. Somebody can love you, but if you don't love them back, then that's not really a relationship. So Krishna loves us all. So by us loving him, then we truly get a relationship with him. Then our human form of life is positive and worthwhile. So how do we achieve bhakti? By the association of devotees. One has a chance to hear about Krishna. As said in Srimad Bhagavatam 119:16, Maharaj Parikshit is talking to Sukadeva Goswami. Translation. Again, offering obeisances unto all you brahmanas, I pray that if I should take my birth in the material world, that I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Sri Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. That a devotee of the Lord is the only perfect living being is explained herein by Maharaj Parikshit. A devotee of the Lord is no one's enemy, although there may be many enemies of a devotee. A devotee of the Lord does not like to associate with non-devotees, although he has no enmity with them. He desires association with the devotees of the Lord. This is perfectly natural because birds of the same feather mix together. That's how Srila Prabhupada put it. Birds of a feather stick together. And the most important function of a devotee is to have complete attachment for Lord Sri Krishna, the Father of all living beings. As a good son of the Father behaves in a friendly way with all his brothers, so also the devotee of the Lord, being a good son of the Supreme Father, Lord Krishna, sees all the living beings in relation with the Supreme Father. By hearing the desires of the heart, anarthas, will go, and we will become steady in our fixed faith and practice of nishta. Then ruchi will develop. Unless we have some pleasure in what we're doing, we won't do it. Unless we have some pleasure in chanting, dancing, devotional service, then we're not going to do it. And the clue to that is doing devotional service with your heart. We're such a victim of the wanderings of our mind. So if we can be a bit more heartfelt, that will be much better for us. If you have land and cows, you can become free from sin by protecting the cows and doing agriculture with them. Srila Prabhupada wanted that. He wanted us to be self-sufficient with the agriculture and cows by planting vegetables and having cow's milk. What will happen then? You will adopt a non-violent way of life through cow protection and agriculture. If you drink milk and use cows for agriculture, you will become more pious and become attracted to devotional service. And you will become attracted to devotional service by the blessings of the cows especially. So take a bit of time out of your week and go and see the cows. See how loving they are. See how what a reciprocation you can have. I do a little bit of astrology, and then I found out if you rub the cow here, the bad effects of Rahu will go. If you rub the cow here towards the belly, the bad effects of Ketu will go. So that's just a little bit of the blessings of the cow. Rahu is the mischief maker, so we don't really want him in our lives. So, or we want him to turn a different way. A person who is not austere is not attracted to beautiful Krishna. So austerity means not that it's like something that we do ourselves. For instance, taking a shower in the morning. You might have the facility of hot water, but if you decide to take a cold water bath, then that's austerity. That's something that attracts Krishna, to be austere. Those who aren't austere, they're like a fish out of water who are struggling and they cannot breathe. People will not find time to read, but Harinam can make them peaceful. Just chanting and chanting and chanting. Whatever you do, just chant. Just chant. Just put chanting in the foreground. By chanting the holy name, you will see life on a different level. And you say, I have no time to read. Make time. Make time. So I'll end here. I was just going to say that I met Carl in the Penn Station in New York, the middle of New York. That's the center of Manhattan. And so he was walking along with lots of hair and beard, and very kind of hippie looking. So, but then he got a book. And his life changed. Sometimes, even if your relative is a very great devotee, maybe you're not going to listen to what your relative says because it's a different relationship. But just by getting a book, it really helped a lot. And so I'm going to end here. Haribol? No, you. Haribol. No, you. No, you.
That was a wonderful class. Thank you so much, Atita Guna Prabhu.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Barely.
That was a wonderful class.
Oh, thank
I'll
you.
just shout.
Thank you.
I wanted to make two comments. One was about your reference to the cows. And I remember in the very early days here in Mayapur, and I was residing here then, and we had one of our first go pujas. And we went over to the Goshala, which only had about 20 cows, not many. Now it has many hundreds of cows. And we fed the cows wonderful gore balls, and we painted them and decorated them and patted them. And the next day, their milk yield was doubled, if not tripled, because they got that love and affection. So I also reiterate what you were saying, that we should make time for the cows. The other point I wanted to say is our cow protection minister in Australia, Venugopal Das, who has selflessly, wonderfully served the cows for many, many, many years, often without any help, day in, day out, come summer, come winter, come, rain, he'll always be there serving the cows. And he's now on his last journey, last days, weeks before Prabhupada takes him back. So I request everyone to please pray for a peaceful transition for him. And no doubt he will be soon with the cows in Goloka. The other thing I wanted to say was you actually, I remember you very clearly in your book distribution and collection days. You were one of our biggest book distributors and collectors, and I was living in Mayapur as a brahmachari for many years, had recently gotten married, and we decided that a group of us were going to go to New York to collect for Mayapur. So it was Madhuri, Tamal Krishna Maharaj's former wife, and it was Haristanu and myself. And Nareshwar Prabhu was the Sankirtan leader. So we went to New York, and you very kindly was my Sankirtan guru. And you taught me how to distribute Prabhupada's books, collect Lakshmi. And I'm not quite sure, but I believe that the Lakshmi we collected bought the first Sankirtan bus in Mayapur. I heard that. So I wanted to again thank you for your kind tutelage. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for your comments. Before talking, I wanted to say this. I wanted to pray for the mercy of the devotees, because this is actually the first time that I've spoken about Srimad Bhagavatam in front of such exalted souls. But I thought I would accept a challenge. It's very easy to be in a comfort zone. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing my chanting, I'm doing my devotional service, and every day is kind of like one after the other, like that. And then when Keshavi Mataji asked me to give Bhagavatam class, immediately I went, no, absolutely not. I'm too shy. I'm too self-conscious. But out of love for her, actually, I thought, yes, I'll accept the challenge. Challenges actually boost your bhakti. And get out of your comfort zone. Go for the challenge. Go for it. Really go for it. It's so easy to say no, but it doesn't really help in your spiritual journey if you don't have challenges. And I just wanted to beg your forgiveness for any mistakes or offenses that I've made to you. Hare Krishna. Okay, go. Thank you. Ki Jai. Jai. Thank you. I can't. Big challenge for me. Yeah. Yeah, but not in public. Is that all right? Thank you.